Pokemon. Become a trainer and I will kill decisively. Chapter 1. Daxia Gui Province, Yangcheng, on the edge of Mashan Village, Qingqiao Town. Pokemon, go to school. What an interesting world. Sudden death due to rewards twice is really a cowardly way to die. Contest condition, my life was still a mess before. I will live well for you. After all, it is a world of interests. Quote. In the winter, when the fog is thick and the cold wind is whistling, at 12 o'clock at noon, a little sunlight shines through the window of the old house into the dark interior. When Lin Wuji wakes up from his sleep, he is used to holding on to the shabby quilt and leaning it over his shoulders to resist the cold wind blowing from the crack of the door. He sat up on the bed with his eyes squinted, thinking that ordinary days would be the same as usual. A stab of pain in his mind told him that life is full of accidents. A memory that belonged to him but with different colors emerged. When he came back to his senses, he looked at smelling salts directly from his confusion. Lin Wuji chuckled repeatedly, pinching a corner of the quilt tightly. Shock flashed through his eyes, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Just like in the past, my body has a long-standing habit of rewarding me with an ordinary face and a diocese temperament all over my body. The only difference is that the eyes that were once cloudy and confused gradually revealed a sharp edge and ruthless determination. Listening carefully to the sounds outside the house, I vaguely heard the familiar roars of some Pokemon in the Pokemon anime: Growl, Pidgey, Rattata, Caterpie. Understanding the situation based on memory, Lin Wuji's own family situation has not changed much. The timeline is even many years earlier, and his predecessor is still in a young and high-spirited stage. How is he like him? After going through all kinds of past, it seems like a vicissitude. The cruel reality that I still think of. Even due to the emergence of Pokemon, the country has created a privileged class due to the birth of the high-risk popular occupation, trainer, which has become even more cruel. With mixed emotions, Lin Wuji looked at the sunlight reflected in saffron outside the door and looked at it again and again for a long time. Yes, time travel and come to a Pokemon world with creatures called Pokemon that possess various special abilities. It is different from the anime Pokemon world in my memory, and is similar to the Blue Star parallel world. In the history of the world 500 years ago, people's development was basically the same. But since the past 500 years, the world has undergone changes, and its area has expanded several times. Through unknown mysterious passages, Pokemon creatures have appeared all over the world, changing the trajectory of progress. Taking a completely different path. Pokemon, also known as Pokemon, these magical creatures each have extraordinary psychic. They can spit out flames, swallow dead souls, and condense water. They are so powerful that they can even cause landslides, fissures, and destruction of heaven and earth. Nowadays, Pokemon has unknowingly become an inseparable part of people's lives. At the same time, with the emergence of extraordinary abilities, the laws of physics on Blue Star were broken, and humans also had the option of mastering Pokemon. It is not inherited by itself, but uses a container called Pokeball that appears together with Pokemon creatures. After researching and confirming its function, it began to conquer Pokemon that appeared around the world by defeating them with bare hands or letting the other party recognize them. After the person who captures the Pokemon continues to train the Pokemon to become stronger, he will become the strongest in the world, thus creating a way to share profits through duels. This type of person is called trainer, and it is also the main profession sought after by people around the world. It is precisely in this way that Pokemon-related businesses gradually took shape over time, and the Pokemon Alliance responsible for managing this system was born. Pokemon Alliance is the most powerful official organization of many countries in the world. In this life, apart from all kinds of Pokemon, the predecessor is like a speck of dust that can no longer be ordinary. There is no long Aeotian model of starting as an orphan. His family is safe and sound, and he successfully completed the 9-year compulsory education, sponsored by the state and graduated. After mastering some basic knowledge about Pokemon in life and completing free education, Lin Wuji, who is 16 years old, is qualified to become a rookie trainer. Similarly, he can study hard and continue his studies to enter high school and finally college, and become at least an ordinary level trainer after graduation. There is a huge difference between the two. The former is just the country's basic education. You can go to the relevant departments to register to become a rookie trainer. They don't have much knowledge about Pokemon, so they are nicknamed Wild Path trainers. It's a quick start, but under normal circumstances, if there is no background or adventure in the whole life, the strength will end within the ordinary level, and the result can be seen at a glance. As for the latter, if they continue to expand their studies, if they work hard in the senior year of high school, they can join the special Pokemon training classes in each school, or directly enter a good university during the college entrance examination, and extend their knowledge of Pokemon and practice it, laying an important foundation for becoming a trainer in the future. Although it took him a few more years to start his trainer journey, he was a rising star, but Yeluzi was often caught up by them and was left behind in the end. Basically, you are willing to work hard and avoid accidents during your travels. The achievements in that life may break through the elite level of strength and enjoy the respect and admiration of one's descendants. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that the latter is a wise choice made by most people. Lin Wuji's situation is currently stuck in the middle of the two. He is a high school student at home. He also took leave early and without any reason and stayed at home for many months, preparing to drop out of school and end his studies, making that unwise choice. According to the memories, the predecessor was looking for an opportunity to capture a Pokemon, quickly cultivate the Pokemon and start traveling and adventure, and he was very determined. Lin Wuji came by mistake, planning to make a completely different choice, all for the best situation. It's really troublesome. That's all, just let me finish my unfinished studies for myself. Based on my knowledge of Pokemon, even if I can't get into the special Pokemon training class on campus in my senior year of high school, I can easily get into an excellent Pokemon university. Quote. Sighing, Lin Wuji continued to plan the way forward. With a mature mind, he unexpectedly placed his hope on a vague plug-in. Of course there is the best. Are you going to die from exhaustion and go to a bad school? Even worse than being a dog. But in this world, becoming a trainer whose strength exceeds the ordinary level means living a better life than ordinary people. Because the predecessor couldn't endure the hard campus life, he was ready to go straight to the wild side. The idea of rookie trainer was unacceptable. As long as he achieved his goal, what could he not tolerate? However, through memories, Lin Wuji does not blame his younger self. Who doesn't want to have a bright future? When he was still in junior high school, Lin Wuji racked his brains and used his status as a student with special talents to get admitted to Qingqiao Middle School, which ranked fourth among the 6 high schools in Ribbon County. The third place, Qingbin Middle School, could be admitted, but the predecessor thought it was too far away and there was not much difference between the two schools, so he chose to go to the nearest school. High school studies are all about life-related knowledge and common Pokemon knowledge. Except for the top high schools in big cities, students are rarely given extra resources to actually cultivate Pokemon as rewards. Therefore, only the final college entrance examination results will determine the future direction of people who are admitted to the prestigious Pokemon University. Daxia, as a big country, has the largest population in the world, reaching 1.4 billion. Qingqiao is just a small county town with a fairly average economic situation but a population close to 1 million. Every year, the competition among tens of millions of students is fierce. If half of them are eliminated at the beginning of middle school, they will still not be much better when they enter high school. Lin Wuji's Qingqiao Middle School has a total of nearly 3,000 students in 3 grades. It occupies only 2 or 3 hectares of land, which can be described as narrow and crowded. The Pokemon training class for high school students has only a few dozen places each year. Thousands of students in one grade compete for snatch treatment. You can imagine how difficult it is. But these are not the reasons for the predecessor to quit in spite of difficulties. The carbonated and messy life is. There are dozens of dormitories on the 5th floor of the entire student building. A dozen people are crowded into a dormitory of more than 10 square meters. There is a small toilet with room for 2 people at most, 4 or 5 faucets, 1 or 2 faucets, and a small scale to maintain the cold winter. Get up at 6 a.m. and go to bed with lights out at 11 a.m. It is commonplace for teachers to have an indifferent attitude, a strict teaching system that starts early and stays late, a canteen with unscrupulous intentions and a highly profitable canteen with millions of stolen money, etc. The life people live. Worse than pigs and dogs. It can be called a paid prison life. Close double angle bracket. In addition to the most basic 18 attributes and a common skill move, most Pokemon's name attributes are studied in cultural physics courses such as Chinese, mathematics, and foreign languages. This educational knowledge is closely related to life and is the basis of scientific research. Although trainer is mainstream, it is not necessary. Therefore, the philosophy and selection of the entire educational community remained unchanged until the pre-university reforms. At the same time, it is also a test to select talents who have passed basic life learning, even if not all of them have the potential to become powerful trainers. But if you go through difficulties for your dreams, you will definitely have excellent abilities, and you can also choose to engage in other professions to become the foundation of society. As the saying goes, if you can't bear a little hardship, what big deal will it be? The significance of education is also the tradition of Daxia, which is to learn from the bitterness first and then the sweetness. Only by eating the bitterest bitterness can one be superior to others or inferior to others. My predecessor was a complete academic scumbag. I thought high school courses were unnecessary, but I didn't want to lose the opportunity to pass the college entrance examination and enter a Pokemon university to become a powerful trainer. To put it simply, he was too young to endure the hardship, and reluctant to bear the goodness in the future. He was too depressed about daily relaxation and rewards, which led to transcending himself. Lin Wuji traveled through time for the first time. The school's screening system is generally popular, and Lin Wuji can see through it after a little thought. Most of the imbalance between resources and number of people has reached the point of distinguishing the superior from the inferior. Just like the selection of middle and high schools, the resources of Pokemon University are relatively scarce, and the talents worth cultivating are selected through selection. The process is not important, what is important is the result. Now Lin Wuji is facing a situation where he has to realize his self-worth in a school, which makes him somewhat helpless. Grass, as a plant. Lin Wuji's eyes are always cold, and his body is too fragile. Constantly asking for leave cannot solve it. Without Pokemon's behavior of sitting at home and gnawing at his old age, he was severely discouraged by his parents and forced him to go back to school and work hard. How could he understand that he would only feel that his life was harder than that of his own time? After many attempts to persuade him failed, his parents had no choice but to drop out of school and the news spread in the village. It became a joke in the village, but the initiator of the even more ridiculous incident was actually Big Speaker's father, who was belittling his son. Lin Wuji lives in the countryside and is a small farmer. His family cultivates a few acres of land. Life is ordinary. I have enough food and clothing every day and occasionally have big fish and meat. Life is still nourishing. As for his father, Lin Ju, he was once a trainer in Yeluzi. Lin Wuji learned from his memory that the strongest strength was probably around the ordinary level elementary level. For some reason, my father's trump card Firo disappeared, and a large number of hidden wounds accumulated in the past battles exploded, and he finally died. At this point, my father was no longer so passionate about his career as a trainer. Firstly, his family gradually became concerned about it, and secondly, his financial resources did not allow it. The only Pokemon I have in my hand right now is a rookie-level Spearow. People are like iron, and food is like steel. When living, you must always consider your livelihood. After the married father lost the source of income brought by ordinary-level strength. Low education and no stable job led to a dilemma. It was not until a few years ago that he stabilized and chose farming. But things didn't go as planned. Businesses such as raising chickens and ducks, there are common creatures in the Pokemon world, were in recession, and the income was not paid day by day. However, during that time, swine fever suddenly broke out in ordinary domestic pigs that were in demand for meat in the Guangxi region. There was no time to control and prevent the disease, and a large number of domestic pigs died. After the epidemic ended, the price of pork skyrocketed, estimated to be 6 or 7 times higher than before the epidemic. It is not an exaggeration to say that it was a huge profit. My father foolishly thought that a rare opportunity to make money had come, and he was reckless and only focused on the present. He spent all his family wealth to move here and there, and quickly built a pig farm on the edge of the village. A lot of money is flowing like water, and he dreams of getting rich by buying large quantities of piglets with high prices. In the end, reality punches him hard, and the bamboo basket is in vain. When domestic pigs reach a size that can be sold, there are too many people who blindly follow the trend. A large number of domestic pigs flood into the market, and the price naturally returns to normal. Funny to say, the price of an adult domestic pig is almost the same as the price of a piglet. If you pay hundreds of thousands for it, you will be heavily in debt. Does your father regret it? Maybe when I'm alone, I can, but at home I'm very arrogant and unrepentant. In the end, I have to bow to life and become a pig killer. After obtaining the permit, he began to buy domestic pigs, slaughter them and sell them everywhere, earning profits from the price difference to support his life and pay off his debts. When my predecessor dropped out of school, my father yelled at me and pointed out all the difficulties and dangers of taking the wrong path. After all, this is how he came to be. As a result, he took time off and stayed at home. In his eyes, his son had nothing to do all day long. It was common for his predecessor to be scolded, and all kinds of unpleasant and filthy words abounded. While selling pork on the streets, his father used it as a source of conversation about his son who was about to drop out of school. The truth about family scandals should not be publicized. Haha, the whole village knows about it. Lin Wuji accuses his son of being qualified as a father, but treats it as a joke and even pulls others along. Lin Wuji really doesn't understand. Will a grasshopper on a rope be okay? When outsiders laugh at him, don't they also think in their hearts that this person is incompetent in teaching? Angry temper, good face, weird behavior that treats outsiders better than family members, but he still has advantages, at least he didn't let his son's predecessor live on the street. That's it. If Lin Wuji is willing to return to school, his father will most likely be willing to pay for school fees. According to the Daxia tradition, you can't study hard even if you have to suffer. The relationship between the two dropped to a freezing point. It's just a little cold wind. At the beginning of a new day, Lin Wuji opened the warm quilt, reached for the mobile phone on the pillow, stood up and walked out of the mosquito net, put on the down jacket placed beside the stool, tied the laces of the shoes under his feet, and sighed at the coldness that hit his face. It's about the weather and the upcoming return to school. Walking out of the dilapidated house expressionlessly, Lin Wuji now lives not at home, but at the pig farm where her father lost all his money by raising pigs. It can be said to be full of stench. The house and feed room are connected together, and a few cement pillars outside the door support the long eaves to provide shelter from wind and rain, and to light a fire for cooking. Further ahead is a man-made pond with some ducks and fish, and on the left is the road out. There is an open space with an iron shed in the middle to raise chickens, which are reserved for slaughtering or selling during the holidays. Ordinary chickens are planted on the ponds and roadsides. Fruit trees. On the hill behind, and on the right are rows of domestic pig farms. If you don't work in the countryside, you won't have food to eat. If you don't go to school, you will naturally be temporary as a caretaker of the pig farm at night. His pig farm is not large in scale, but because it is on the edge of the village, despite the surrounding mountains, trainers specially sent from the town will be cleaned every 2 to 3 months. But this does not mean that there are no wild Pokemon. Some common rookie-level Pokemon with low strength still remain. Domestic pigs will definitely cause certain casualties when faced with Pokemon invasion, and may even be wiped out. Humans are powerless, so to deal with the terror of Pokemon, it must be Pokemon. Lin Wuji is responsible for directing at most, and Puccina, who accompanies him at both ends, serves as the main force. Woof. Woof. Standing under the eaves, with the cold wind blowing, Lin Wuji looked around at his fish pond and some ordinary fruit trees planted. Ducks were playing in the water. He wanted to see Pokemon. After all, he is also a senior Pokemon fan. A few familiar dog barks reached his ears, and when he turned his head, he finally saw the Pokemon. Pokemon Puccina, 2 small canines with gray fur all over their bodies, pewter-colored conversions on their faces and limbs, red eyes, yellow eyes, and very sharp fangs. When he saw the little master, he immediately ran towards it happily, barking, wagging his gray tail behind him, and then led several ordinary repair dogs. Looking at the oncoming guys, Lin Wuji smiled and stretched out his hand to touch, but as Puccina came closer and closer, he suddenly froze again. Ding! Incredibly crisp and beautiful sound. There was a sound of some kind of machine starting up. Before he could react, a flash of blue light flashed across Lin Wuji's eyes, and two iconic data charts suddenly appeared in front of him. Pokemon. Puccina. Qualification. Crimson. Gender. Male. Level. Level 9 Intermediate Rookie Level. Attribute. Evil. Ability. Scud. What to bring. Genetic skills. Basic skills. Tackle, Howl, Sand Attack, Bite. Teach skills. Note. It has a keen sense of smell and will never let go of its targeted prey. Very persistent character. Pokemon. Puccina. Qualification. Red. Gender. Male. Level. Level 8 Rookie Level Intermediate. Attribute. Evil. Ability. Escape. What to bring. Genetic skills. Basic skills. Tackle, Howl, Sand Attack, Bite. Teach skills. Note. It has a keen sense of smell and will never let go of its targeted prey. Very persistent character. When there are multiple data graphs, you can slide left and right to occupy the main line of sight, and it will appear as he turns his head and other movements. Only the closed X button will be displayed at the edge of the line of sight. Staring at the two data graphs, Lin Wuji, no matter how stable his mood was, could not hide his joy. Once it came, he would wait for it. Lin Wuji has been chewing through the internet book library for several years, and something appears inexplicably that corresponds to Pokemon. What else can it be besides Golden Finger? People and Pokemon have a certain same essence, and they are divided into higher and lower levels. The results of a lifetime of diligent training for a Pokemon with low potential are not even as good as the results of a few years of leisurely fishing and training for a very talented Pokemon. This is the cruel reality. Although there are rare treasures in the world that can allow Pokemon with high qualifications to complete a counterattack, the value of the items is high. Who would not choose a better one for a piece of trash? If the Pokemon is cultivated from the beginning and has deep feelings, it is another matter. Therefore, the result is that, no dogs want junk Pokemon, Pokemon with extraordinary potential are put to war, and the price of purchasing them with bare hands has soared to an astonishing level. From Goldfinger's analysis data chart, we can see that the potential of R2 Puccinas is very high. If nothing happens, they will never be able to break through the normal level in their lifetime. The only skills they master are Tackle, Howl, Sand Attack, and Bite. The level of Rookie is mid-level, reaching a strength close to level 10. It is probably due to the hard work of working together to defend against the invasion of wild Pokemon for several years. It's too ordinary. Where can the protagonist's hidden talent be discovered at the beginning and led directly to heaven? It's normal. The red qualification stage, which is the lowest level in the world, is actually the vast majority of common Pokemon. There are really potential Pokemon that appear in front of trainer in the wild. Without the help of a huge high-tech Pokemon detection machine, they would have been missed. As for the two Puccina, my father bought them cheaply at a random market. You're lucky to have a better dark red one among them. The data graph in his eyes was unremarkable, but Lin Wuji's heart had already stirred up 1,000 waves. He was unwilling to stay in the ordinary life of Lex School and became a powerful trainer and an almost substantial covet. The road seems to be already under your feet. You can check the effects of nearby Pokemon in a similar way to Solacean. The data graph presents all situations including the main qualifications and abilities. The wealth value contained is simply unique. From now on, it will be the best capital for his wild path counterattack. This is Lin Wuji's unique advantage, which will gradually widen the gap between most trainers. Confidence comes from understanding. Precision machines that can also check Pokemon's qualifications are very large in size, have high power supply, and even have special structures and operations that cannot be stuffed into a space backpack, making them impossible to carry as easily as a trainer. The cost of research and development makes them rare and expensive, and most of them are in the hands of big forces such as Alliance for use. Moreover, it requires a large number of busy operations to be started and cannot cope with emergency and dangerous situations in the wild. For ordinary trainers, it would cost a fortune to check the status of Pokemon at a large certification agency, such as the Pokemon centers that are basically located all over the country and even the world. The unique ability of Golden Finger makes Lin Wuji not limited to the college entrance examination alone. Where's silly? You are still being a dog in school, just to show off to some peers and waste time, and there is no gold in the pretense, so what's the point? I didn't expect that I was not destined to go to school, no matter in my previous life or in this life. That's fine, don't waste your energy on meaningless things, focus on the path of trainer, strength is the truth. Quote. Woof. Woof. The Puccinas have already arrived at the little master's side, and Lin Wuji is murmuring to himself, with a sarcastic sneer on his face. Based on his previous hatred towards the school, he will not let go of those who have disgusted him if he has the ability. Now, let them be happy for a while. Considering the opinions of your family and parents, go back to school and work hard to create a good character. He never cares about other people's opinions, everything is made in the way that is most beneficial to him. To be honest, isn't going to Daxia High School all about torture? It would be meaningless if I didn't change my destiny for the college entrance examination. But now, Lin Wuji's fate is in his own hands. As a senior Pokemon fan, he has a lot of Pokemon knowledge stored in his mind, and he even knows a lot about mythical beasts that people in this world don't know about. There are no shortcomings in the wild path. Choosing the Earl Dervish Pokemon is the first step in the next step. Admitted to the famous Pokemon University. For the resources of charity, or do you want to be filled with youth? Are you worried that you won't be able to grab resources if you are stuck? It can only be said that he is a pure waste and has no qualifications to become a chess piece. Make full use of the convenient mobility of Goldfinger and dig out more Pokemon with excellent qualifications. Soon, Lin Wuji will become the so-called existence that is out of reach of college students. Wonkai, Shalwa will have to work hard for you again today. Where is my mother? He knelt down and stretched out his hand to caress the two Puccina's little heads naturally. Their nicknames were given to them when they were children. It was auspicious that they were not just dog-egg dogs. Don't say it, it sounds nice. Feeling the lubricating touch brought by the fluff, Lin Wuji asked after calming down. For the time being, I stay at home and dawdle, and the job of looking after the pig farm is to come over at night to sleep and occasionally patrol for precautions. During the day, my mother comes over to feed the pigs and take care of them. Woof. Woof. The two Puccina turned their heads towards the vegetable field and barked a few times, indicating something. With a simple move, Lin Wuji knew that her mother was working in the vegetable field. She stood up again and looked at the farming figure and then turned around. Under the eaves, in front of the fully charged electric donkey. He quickly unplugged the plug, placed it on the broken table, and looked at his face in the car mirror. Normal, less than 1/10 millionth of the reader. No one is paying attention in the crowd, but the readers are all watching. With extremely messy hair and a decadent body, Lin Wuji has been rewarded with body injuries for a long time. Lin Wuji has poor body condition and is overweight. The exercise column has been silently added to the plan. Turning the car key, Lin Wuji got into the car and turned around, using his superb driving skills to drive the electric donkey through the open space and leave the pig farm. Beep. Beep. Drive forward, brake occasionally to reduce the speed and turn, then squeeze the handlebar to accelerate. The scenery along the way was the same as before. The only novelty was that, Pidgey, Spearow, and other Pokemon flew from time to time in the distant soaring in the sky, as well as the roaring growl in the deep mountains and forests on the outskirts. He is not the only one who follows the trend of building a pig farm. When he encounters several, similar people, on the road, he will always speed up quietly. Because he had been observing the situation, he didn't go back very quickly, and he didn't care about meeting familiar villagers in the village. The only thing that made Lin Wuji's eyes linger a few more times was the Pokemon raised by each family in the village. Puccina, who looks after the home, Meowth, who is rumored to be able to attract wealth, Rattata, who is about the same size as a cat, Only, who is a good helper for humans, and so on. Seeing Lin Wuji passing by, these people looked at him for a few times and then continued to do their work. Dropping out of school was regarded as the butt of jokes after dinner, but people rarely discussed it unscrupulously in front of him. Everyone was not a fool. At most, they just whispered behind his back. No one wanted to be resented. Neither being able to make friends nor being resented is the way for normal people to survive. The old man who was roasting a charcoal fire under the big tree at the entrance of the village noticed the figure slowly retreating and began to murmur again. Yes. Yes. It's this kid who doesn't know the hardships of life. He will have an easier time in the future. Oh. I feel sorry for Lin Zihan. I'm not willing to spend money to support his education. At that time, we couldn't even go to school. How could he be a trainer? Lin Wuji can't hear everything, but he won't care if he hears it, because he sees through the essence. This is the fate of a loser who is stepped on. If he is capable and promising, he will be praised by everyone. That's all. The most urgent thing at the moment is to find a way to raise Earl Dervish funds. Then, through the plug-in, he can visit the Pokemon breeder houses in Ribbon County and even Yongcheng to find his favorite Pokemon and take the first step to become a trainer. Turning into a pond on the street, Lin Wuji turned right and rode for a while before arriving in front of her house, where she parked her car in an open space. Pull out the car key, find the door key hanging together, and open it. Squeak. As a true Moonlight Clan member and night watchman, Lin Wuji woke up and returned home at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Before he had lunch, he put the leftovers in the microwave to heat up. He took a bowl and a pair of chopsticks from the cabinet to pour a bowl of porridge, and ate it with the heated leftovers. Unlock the password to open the phone, slide into a certain music, and watch the beautiful life recorded by others. Sure enough, after the world changed and Pokemon came into existence, there were endless videos, but interacting with Pokemon to show the touching bond between trainer and Pokemon occupies a popular market. There are some funny and passionate movies with Pokemon, and there are also TV series produced with Pokemon as the protagonist, such as Chief Meowth, Pikachu and Meowth, Infernape's Legend of the Monkey King, and other popular segments. There are also many occasional anecdotes and deep emotions, such as Four Asan Brothers and Sceptile's love of people and Pokemon, and Swallow. How can I live without you? Original God, activate. The fairy tale-like anime world is fake after all. I won't be Ash, I'm not that stupid. After eating and drinking, Lin Wuji understood deeply that no matter where in the world people exist, there will be classes and competition, and the weak have no human rights. But it didn't stop him from starting to slowly climb up from the bottom. Good life, just look at it. With this month's royalties, I no longer need to rely on my parents for money issues. Although there are very few, it is easy to use the existing means to double it. Lin Wuji secretly thought about it, and the prerequisite for becoming a rookie trainer is to capture a Pokemon with Pokeball, bring your ID card and a processing fee of 100 yuan, and go to the Pokemon Center in the town for confirmation. It is not difficult. Of course, with the corresponding certificate, there is no threshold for rookie trainer, and there is no benefit at all. It only allows you to bring your own Pokemon and go to the Pokemon Center to spend money for treatment. In the Smart Task bar in the center lobby, starting from the Earl Dervish level, you can accept tasks entrusted by others to obtain rewards and items. And, for the Pokemon caught in wild battles, whether to pay a certain fee to have the machine detect the data so that Pokemon can be traded. Or go to Alliance's recognized Pokemon store to purchase all products used by trainers. If not, the managers of these industries can refuse to provide services to you and complete the transaction. All in all, as long as the source of the Pokemon is not snatched or stolen, and it can follow your instructions and perform simple actions, it can be easily handled. Whether you take a bug net and a Pokeball, go directly to the outside of the wild to catch them with bare hands, or assist other trainers to obtain them, it's basically just a formality. Lin Wuji already has this thing. After completing 9 years of compulsory education, his predecessor hurriedly took care of it with a lot of money, so there is no need for trouble. Due to the popularity of the trainer profession, small Pokemon treatment centers and Pokemon stores that are not certified by Alliance are allowed to exist. However, the quality is uneven, which is why many people avoid them. Without certification, it means uncertainty in the industry. Alliance's trainer-related industry, the quality of the items sold is not very good, but it is guaranteed and feels safe, and there is a place to complain, I don't know if it is useful or not. On the contrary, we are not responsible for industrial goods shipped without certification, and it is common for people to make money and run away. According to the certificate, Wonkai is Lin Wuji's nominal Pokemon, but he has no intention of cultivating it, and it's not worth or want to waste his time. In this world, rookies who become trainers will not be as normal as described in the Pokemon anime. Teenagers aged up to 10 years old can go to the Region Professor's Research Institute and easily choose a cute rookie who has completed the final evolution but is extremely powerful. The Yusan family includes some rare and powerful Pokemon babies that are extremely valuable, especially the powerful ones in the final stage that make them even more coveted. Their talents are not bad from the beginning. Regardless of the imbecility caused by birth or accident, they basically have a qualification guarantee of about green. Do you know what green qualifications mean? As long as the trainer has enough resources to cultivate and train, he can become the mainstay of the country and the ticket to gym leader level strength. This is the reason why so many people are crazy about it. If you want to officially get the Usangia from Alliance, the requirements are strict. The parents of the previous generation must have made a certain contribution to Alliance, and must hand over a high amount of 100,000 yuan every year for 10 consecutive years. You can go to the Pokemon Center in the town where you live and go through the procedures to get it. The same goes for other rare Pokemon. Apart from this channel, the breeder house is another option. Compared with the regular Alliance method, it is normal to pay several times the price. The breeder house's supplies are in short supply, and unless you have connections or strong financial resources, it's difficult to obtain them. If neither of the above two methods works, the black market will be the last option. Pokemon, props and other items can be traded regardless of their unknown origins or cannot be displayed openly. This is also a secret way for many people to make a fortune. For all Pokemon, including quasi-gods and Usangia, the qualifications represent the absolute upper limit. This is an unquestionable result verified by countless trainers. Therefore, each Pokemon will have a different price according to its qualifications: red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and purple. Based on Lin Wuji's current status, this is the highest corresponding green qualification that can be learned. As for the cyan potential of Pokemon that is expected to break through to the elite level, very little is known, but there is no need to think that the price will increase as time goes by. Like the most popular red qualification, including Pokemon that die and turn into materials, the total value is probably within 2 to 3,000 yuan. Orange qualified Pokemon, after being captured and trained by trainer, have the potential to break through the ordinary level. Putting aside some unpopular ones, the approximate price is based on the practicality of all Pokemon, ranging from a low of a few thousand to tens of thousands. Pokemon with yellow qualifications have gradually become somewhat rare, and can be regarded as mediocre in 1% of the 100 Pokemon in the same family. Do not die prematurely in case of accidents. Peak strength is the dream that ordinary people pursue throughout their lives, the highest peak elite level that they can barely reach. Also, depending on the type of Pokemon, the price ranges from a low of tens of thousands to a high of hundreds of thousands. Green qualifications are great. Norman is almost the lucky guy chosen among Pokemon. After research by Pokemon academic staff, basically before breaking through to the gym leader level, training and resource development are in place without any bottlenecks. In addition, the strength of the leader level, the qualification to be the leader of a certain town, and the power of a local emperor are absolutely delicious. Moreover, the qualifications of the green stage are special, and the dark green ones have further reached the upper limit of the quasi-elite level. This strength is equivalent to founding a family or the principal of a well-known Pokemon academy. Therefore, the price range of Pokemon is huge, generally ranging from a low of several 100,000 to a high of tens of millions. It is worth mentioning that Pokemon trading, hunting and other situations are allowed. Compared with the utopian beauty in animation, reality is often much crueler, and the law of survival of the weak and the strong will not change. Fighting snatch exists everywhere. The reason why trainer is called a high-risk profession and the extremely high mortality rate is that while venturing into the wild to seek resources and capture Pokemon, he died at the hands of various cruel wild Pokemon. There is no right or wrong between the two sides, the outcome is caused by strength, the winner takes all. Every trainer hopes that the Pokemon he started his journey with will be improved, but talent is a gap that is difficult to cross. Back to the topic, Judging from the price of each qualification stage, Linwuji may not have the financial resources to buy an orange Pokemon at this time, but if the Earl Dervish Pokemon talent is good, it will save too much trouble in the future. It seems that there is some kind of power interference in this world. Even the most high-end and sophisticated machines cannot detect the data and potential of Pokemon that are still unhatched from Pokemon eggs. Only the breeder family can judge the approximate results with their own unique vision. Because of this, an industry market called egg betting has arisen. As the name of egg betting implies, the trainer spends money to choose one or more eggs, and the quality depends entirely on personal ability. The egg betting market also has prices ranging from low to high. The lowest price of normal is around 1,000, and the highest price is over hundreds of millions. As the saying goes, no one is perfect, and mistakes cannot be guaranteed. The breeders, who have comprehensive knowledge of Pokemon, cannot escape this law. There are always fish that slip through the net in Pokemon eggs. No matter how superb the breeder family's detection methods are, there will always be oversights and mistakes. I just don't know if his golden finger can be as good as when it detects Pokemon's data map. Lin Wuji's eyes were dark, and if it was there, everyone would be happy, but if it wasn't, it would just take a little more time. Nothing would delay him from achieving his goal. Always give it a try to test whether Pokemon eggs are successful, so that you can plan carefully after becoming a trainer. My predecessor worked hard while staying at home. Because of my love for online articles, I was honored to become a popular author on a certain Lu. I published a work 2 months ago. The content is that the protagonist travels through time and becomes an online novel based on the Pokemon anime, replacing one of the 3 villains, with a detection eye similar to his golden finger and unscrupulous means. Learn the story step by step, gain benefits and high-quality Pokemon, and train the Pokemon to become stronger through hard work. Guest appearance. As a handicapped person and a newbie in the industry, the content is normal, not to mention that the number of updates is too small, and the royalties so far are only 1 or 2,000. February 22 happened to be the time for remittance. Lin Wuji checked her mobile phone and found out that the remuneration for her previous work had been transferred to her bank account, which solved her urgent need for money. But there are still too few. If the Pokemon eggs can be detected, Lin Wuji will decisively select a Pokemon with good qualifications, but not sell it as an Earl Dervish Pokemon. Only by selling it can the money obtained be enough to spend on various resources after hatching a Pokemon egg. The method works quickly, but you have to give up after using it once or twice to avoid arousing suspicion. It is also best to select a Pokemon with appropriate qualifications that are neither high nor low. If it is too low, the price will be low and cannot achieve the purpose. If it is too high, it will attract too many people's attention, or even have bad intentions, so control everything in a controlled manner. Now Lin Wuji is too fragile and has to be cautious. The invisible constraints of low strength make it difficult to be the lucky one. Everyone is not stupid. This method of amassing money has been used more than twice, and it has attracted the attention of Alliance and other forces in invisible places. And this is just a conservative ending. Being targeted by bullies is even more terrible, being captured and dissected, or being turned into a vegetative idiot by having a powerful super Pokemon read the memory. Lin Wuji speculates on malicious intentions without reservation. Along with high returns, high risks must exist. In addition, his short career as an author also came to an end. Toot! Toot! Pork is sold, pork is sold. Lin Wuji knew his father was back when he heard the sound of the trumpet. He stood outside the door and took a few glances. His father on the tricycle was the same as he remembered, with a strong figure and a bald head and a fierce look on his face. This was a monologue from his predecessor. Lin Wuji silently returned to the house and walked up the stairs to his room on the 2nd floor. There is nothing left to say between father and son. The father will not understand, and he also wants to prove it with his strength. It's really embarrassing. Lin Wuji laughed at himself softly, but until he has no strength, he can only endure it. This applies to his family and society. During the Chinese New Year a few days ago, he remembered the cynicism and sarcasm of most of his relatives when they got together. Cynical, not only uses language to belittle, ridicule, and disdain, but also behaves in a subtle way, pretending to be a kind of comfort and concern for you, but with a sense of superiority derived from comparison. Because I know I will have a better life than you, I speculate on malicious intentions and say worthless good things. Why can it be detected? Attitude is the mask of the heart. Ren Yanshin never takes him seriously. Instead, he occasionally comes over and manipulates you skillfully, treating you as a cheap slave. To refuse is to kidnap morality in the name of unfilial piety. He talks about making fun of you, treating you like a joke, knowing that it hurts your heart, but he also makes careless jokes, so why do you mind? For your own good. How cheap. In the beginning, human beings are inherently good. Just kidding, kids. People like to add icing on the cake because they see value. A timely help. Is it really worthy of providing help in times of need? What if it fails? No one wants to pay in vain. Come on Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, use flamethrower, hydro pump, solar flame. Ha ha ha. I will definitely become a powerful trainer in the future. Wait. Quote. Sitting on the bed, Lin Wuji suddenly heard a childish voice. Lin Wuji approached the window and realized that it was his younger brother Lin Dong who had returned home and was amusing himself downstairs and shouting about childish dreams. Lin Dong is 8 years old and is in the second grade of the 9th year compulsory education. He is a naughty child who often makes mischief in the village. After his father learned about it many times, he was inevitably punished. The naughty boy was very naughty and his predecessor was not used to it. He did not dare to make mistakes in front of Lin Wuji and was even more afraid of his father. Most rural children's methods of discipline and preaching are effective, so they won't eat bamboo fried meat. Lin Dong was just like the high-spirited man he once was. Lin Wuji smiled bitterly and said, I hope your dreams will not wither because of me in the future. He is used to his naughty brother, gentle mother, and fierce father. He will not give up this family relationship if it is not necessary. There are many pursuits in life, and I have seen through and understood them. It is also to achieve the goals I hoped for in the past, and protecting my family is one of them. His family has tolerated and nurtured him. There are many reasons for Lin Wuji's actions. I went downstairs and took some money from the bedroom. My father was counting money and accounting in the living room, and my brother was watching TV. He took the key of the e-donkey from the table and prepared to leave. As the saying goes, children from poor families become masters early. In the early years, Lin Wuji was influenced by a bite of the tongue. I was inspired by the food column and fell in love with cooking. This habit has continued. Now he is the one who cooks at home, so he can take the change he keeps at home. Where are you going? Drive slowly and pay attention to safety. If there is a car accident, my family will not have money to go to the hospital to treat you. Seeing his son taking the car keys and counting the money, his father asked in a sarcastic tone, but Lin Wuji did not answer and walked out of the house. The father frowned and counted the money more slowly. Then he sighed heavily and did not intend to interfere too much. The road ahead will be exciting. Lin Wuji started the e-donkey again and muttered to himself in the wind. The expression on his face could not be seen clearly, only the corners of his lips were raised. One of his favorite quotes can be said to have come from a classic that encouraged him, changed his attitude towards life, and allowed him to see the social reality clearly before he traveled through time. The hard work, rationality, persistence, and unscrupulousness of the great love immortal. Completely understand that there is no good or bad in the real world, only pros and cons, and become a true, smelling salts, person. Although he is not 1/10,000th as beautiful as the immortal Lord, Lin Wuji still has to work hard and lead a wonderful life of his own. A classic and two wonderful books handed down from generation to generation are still worthy of his recall and study, and are regarded as a guiding light for the principles of life. Heading towards town. Qingqiao Town is an ordinary small town with a slow pace of life. The strongest trainers are in the elite level range. For example, Lin Wuji, the principal who plans to drop out of Qingqiao No. 4 Middle School, is between the low-level and mid-level elite levels, between. The scenery we saw in the car started from fields covered with green grass, and gradually moved into busy streets and dazzling shops. There are endless scenes of people living in harmony with Pokemon, and occasionally there will be trainers riding Pokemon such as Doduo, Dodrio, and Armored Rhino on the road. If you want to ride a suitable Pokemon mount, In order to protect the streets from accidents and traffic, the trainer must obtain the corresponding driver's license from the relevant department. Lin Wuji saw the huge Pokemon Center in the center from a distance and the changes in the new world. He took a few more looks. According to the memory in his mind, the little E-Donkey drove in an orderly manner on the street and slowly arrived at the Pokemon Center, the busiest area of the town, next to the breeder house opposite. In small towns like Qingqiao, there are only one or two breeder houses. Lin Wuji came to the one with better business and reputation. This is evident by being close to the Pokemon Center, which has the highest traffic volume. Parking the car in the parking lot next to it, I saw that there were almost no parking spaces that were full, which showed that business was booming. Under the sharp gazes of the security guards on both sides of the door, Lin Wuji calmly showed his rookie trainer ID and was allowed to walk slowly into the breeder house. Breeder house is a large house with only 2 floors. The architectural style is more classical. Standing in the lobby, Lin Wuji looked at the areas built according to each attribute, and the precious Pokemon eggs protected by tempered glass on various counters. And it is unremarkable, but it is located in the area closest to the hall and in front of the glass door that marks the eye-catching words of 1,000 yuan bet. It was the place where he wanted to test the feasibility of the golden finger. It was the most visited area in the breeder house. Rich people seldom visited it, but civilians and poor people were the majority. Driven by a sense of luck, most people are willing to take a gamble at a price that is 100 or 200 lower than that of common red Pokemon. Sir, this is the breeder house where Pokemon life is nurtured. What attribute and what kind of Pokemon do you need? Or bet on eggs? When a new customer appeared, a staff member with a handsome face and a relevant uniform came to Lin Wuji and asked with a professional smile. Lin Wuji is very ordinary. The staff works at the breeder house and has met all kinds of people. From Lin Wuji's clothes and other aspects, it can be concluded that her purchasing power is not high. However, breeder stipulates that you must have a serious work attitude, and you should not underestimate the possibility that anyone may be a wealthy trainer who pretends to be low-key, but just spends his money wisely and hides it. She always used the slogan of her breeder house in a friendly manner, and asked objective questions. At most, she felt a little contempt in her heart, and she would not show any offending behavior for no reason. If she had done this, she wouldn't be able to find a good job as a breeder house worker now. Pretending to be friendly to everyone is a skill that must be learned, and it is also related to the reputation of the breeder house. I'll just take a look. Lin Wuji responded politely and turned towards the breeder area where the egg bet was held. The staff continued to greet new guests with professional smiles. Pokemon. Hornfang. Qualifications. Fuchsia color. Gender. Female. Level. Level 1. Attribute. Grass. Ability. Chlorophyll. What to bring. Genetic skills. Basic skills. Rattan weaving, razor leaf, acid. Teach skills. Note. The slender body can be bent and can be avoided no matter how strong the attack is. Spit up a liquid that can dissolve even iron from your mouth. Sure enough. It's really powerful to be fooled. As soon as his mind moved, a flash of blue light appeared in front of his eyes again. Although the scanned Pokemon egg was covered with a layer of edible black paint, the bright data picture made Lin Wuji clenched his fists hard and looked approvingly. Baby Pokemon born from Pokemon eggs generally have the habit of eating eggshells to replenish energy after birth. Edible pigments are a rule that is allowed by default to ensure that they are not poisoned or have diarrhea, as well as to obscure the selection of guests. After being stunned for a moment, he walked away calmly and continued to observe the Pokemon eggs on other counters, looking for a suitable target. There were hundreds of Pokemon eggs within the price of 1,000 yuan. He inspected them in an orderly manner, strolling around as if appreciating them, and the Pokemon eggs that he missed were worth tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands. In the egg betting area, in addition to Pokemon eggs worth 1,000 yuan, there are also Pokemon eggs priced at 2,000, 5,000, or even 10,000 yuan and upwards. Compared with other areas with high prices, the sales volume of 1,000 yuan gambling eggs is much higher. After all, most people who come to bet on eggs have the idea that they are lucky, but they are afraid of losing all their money, so they try small bets and end up getting the upper hand, and become the targets of the breeder house. Nearly half of the Pokemon eggs Lin Wuji detected were red. Pokemon. Pidgey. Qualification. Crimson. Pokemon. Krabby. Qualification. Red. Pokemon. Caterpie. Qualifications. Dark Orange. Pokemon. Magnemite. Qualification. Yellow. Gender. No gender. Level. Level 1. Attribute. Electricity, steel. Ability. Magnetism. What to bring. Genetic skills. Basic skills. Impact, supersonic, thunder shock. Teach skills. Note. Rely on eating electricity to maintain life. It flies in the air while emitting thunder waves from its left and right components. After searching carefully, this Magnemite has the highest potential among all the Pokemon eggs in the 1000 yuan zone. There are still one or two olivine-colored Pokemon eggs, but this is undoubtedly the best. After you buy it and wait for it to hatch, take it to the Pokemon Center for testing. The selling price must be at least 100,000. It's pretty good. Stopping in front of a Pokemon egg in the center of the counter, Lin Wuji thought to himself. Magnemite's Pokemon egg credentials are by far the best he's found. In the 1000 yuan area, Lin Wuji didn't see any Pokemon eggs that were very powerful, such as Psychic, Dragon, and Ghost types. Appraisers are not blind. They can initially judge the pattern and smell of Pokemon eggs, and can also detect what attribute the Pokemon eggs belong to. Therefore, the general minimum limit for these attribute Pokemon eggs is that they cannot be bought for $1,000. The breeder house is not a philanthropist who deals in losses. The profits that are visible to the naked eye will not be given to poor people like them who have shy pockets and hope for luck. Yellow qualifications, peak potential, and ability to break through the upper limit of the elite level. It is a hot choice for ordinary people and even well-off families. Magnemite can evolve in 3 stages. As the final stage of evolution, Magnemite is a powerful Pokemon with a strength of 540. The combination of 2 attributes, electricity and steel. 1 ground is 4 times weaker, 2 fighting, and fire is twice as weak. It also restrains most attributes. Overall, it is definitely an extremely powerful Pokemon, and it is not an exaggeration to train it as the main force. Hesitation leads to change, it's better to take it as soon as possible. Lin Wuji gave up the idea of continuing to pick up leaks in other areas for several reasons. First, the price of buying and selling the Magnemite Pokemon egg after it hatched was sufficient. In addition, his capital is too small, and he cannot afford to find someone with better qualifications in other areas. Second, the so-called bet proves that in addition to the power of his plug-in, if Lin Wuji goes to multiple breeder houses continuously for testing, he will surely get his favorite Earl Dervish Pokemon and have an extraordinary starting point as a trainer. When you gain strength in the future and start working as a Pokemon hunter or bounty hunter, the usefulness of Goldfinger will still be unmatched. Lin Wuji called the staff, opened the lock and took out the Pokemon eggs from the cabinet. When he was about to take the Pokemon eggs to the lobby to pay and go through the formalities, a soft and sweet voice came into his ears from behind. That little brother, I like the gambling egg you bought. Can you give it to me? I really want to pull him. A beautiful girl with beautiful clothes and a shy face seemed to touch his shoulder by accident and asked. Her tone was so soft that even a man would not be able to control it, especially when I saw how pitiful I was. Lin Wuji turned his head and saw that the appearance of this lady was indeed pleasing to the eye. He refused expressionlessly. We are people who believe in first come, first served. You'd better choose another one for this lady. Why are you doing this? I'm a girl. Don't you know how to be polite? After being rejected, the beauty immediately pointed at Lin Wuji angrily and asked. People have already begged him, what else do you want? Lin Wuji felt inexplicably sick when he heard this. At the same time as the waiting staff left, he said contemptuously. I took the things first. Let alone girls, I won't let you even if you are a beast. Don't get in my way, green tea. HMPH. Scumbag. It's best not to find a girlfriend in your life. The beauty yelled in embarrassment and stomped tantrum to vent her dissatisfaction, her eyes spite. Originally, he thought that after asking someone to help me pay the bill, he would give the other person a chance to pursue him. Unexpectedly, he turned out to be so ignorant. He is really a disgusting and annoying greasy man. Obviously, under the country's fair and just treatment of everyone, as a girl from a disadvantaged group, she has always enjoyed humility. Being rejected seems to have a bit of a pastoral female boxing shadow. However, not far away, when a handsome man in high-end clothes walked into the breeder house, she instantly kissed him with tenderness and sweetness on his face. It was a smooth flow, because even the lower part of the development. Sir, do you need to hatch Pokemon eggs? A minimum fee of 100 yuan will be charged, please confirm. At the reception counter, the staff knocked on the keyboard to give reasonable reminders based on the guest's consumption, and Lin Wuji nodded and said, okay, trouble. Then, under the watchful eyes, he scanned the QR code with his mobile phone to pay 1,100 yuan. Ka. A receipt was printed out from the machine, and the staff asked for permission, took out a cheap incubator and nutrient solution, skillfully put the Pokemon egg into it to absorb it, covered it twice with a bag, and handed it to Lin Wuji. It takes about 3 to 4 days for the little magnets to hatch. Go back after buying groceries. Don't be idle in the rest of the time to learn more about the changes in the world. Carrying the bag and walking out of the breeder house, Lin Wuji cautiously returned to his little e-donkey in the parking lot, hung it on the small hook next to the start button, and counted the time for the Pokemon egg to hatch. The Pokemon eggs sold at breeder house can be stored for a long time because after several harmless procedures, a certain substance is applied to the Pokemon eggs to extend the incubation time, which can be up to several months. Otherwise, the time from birth to hatching of a normal Pokemon egg will not exceed 1 month. Turning the key to start, he skillfully reversed to avoid other vehicles and exit the parking lot. After buying ingredients for dinner at the fresh food market, I stopped staying and returned to the same route to ride toward the village. Occasionally, I saw energetic young men and young girls sitting on the roadside or in milk tea shops on the street. This slut is walking around in a swaggering manner, making people unhappy, and traveling in groups without even a penny in his pocket. But there is one enviable thing that must be mentioned, commonly known as the first blood killer. Why? Because they are not as cowardly as their peers and dare to act. That's why I go my own way and I'm even proud of it. It sounds ridiculous, but there is also something worth learning. Don't care about other people's eyes. Lin Wuji has sharp eyes and learns to treat everyone equally. He will not lose his rationality in looking at things because of a certain person, and will pursue decisions that are beneficial to him. Treat everyone indifferently, don't care about high or low, everything is for personal interests. The same is true in interpersonal relationships in society, but it will be more hidden. On the surface, you can flatter people because of their power, but your true intentions are ulterior motives. Just like the lady Lin Wuji met at the breeder house just now, who looked like a female boxer. The other party's appearance and posture are pleasing to his eyes, but once his own interests are involved, he will never compromise. This approach is different in appearance, but it is the only way to behave in a humane manner. Be flexible and adaptable to the best advantage to provide help and achieve your goals quickly. The dirty world has created a dirty me. If the prerequisite for becoming a strong person and reaching the top is to be willing to help others and be willing to contribute, why not be a good person? Unfortunately, this is impossible. No matter what the means, people can live a nourishing life. The dislikes and likes of others are, after all, just other people. All other people's gains and losses have nothing to do with me if I can't benefit from them. Follow your own path and keep working hard for it if you think it is right. Let others disappoint or dislike going. Other people's opinions, as long as they are not in line with your own, will be an obstacle to your true intention of moving forward. If it hinders your interests, you must fight back hard. Revenge isn't the meaning of life for people just for themselves. If you don't even understand the meaning of defining yourself, how can you ever find the excitement and joy in life? When he returned home, he parked the e-donkey and took out the keys. Lin Wuji walked into the living room carrying a large bag. My father, I don't know when, had taken a shower and was resting on the bed. My brother didn't know where he went in the village, and only my mother, who had returned from hard work temporarily, was left. Pokemon eggs. Are you trying to cultivate Pokemon? Xiaoji, do you have this ability? I don't want to go to school, but there is still a chance that school will start next month, and my family can afford to add a Pokemon. Otherwise, you have to rely on yourself. Since you don't study, you have to face life alone earlier. Quote. While drinking the porridge warmed by the microwave, she noticed that her son had come back carrying something. In addition to the vegetables, the mother also saw an incubator in the bag. Needless to say, she knew it was a Pokemon egg, and she asked her son about his intentions. The young bird will eventually leave the warm nest and spread its wings alone to fly high. But she hopes that her son will tend to the latter, and will not repeatedly hit the wall due to low education, and will understand the importance of learning. Moreover, becoming a trainer, especially if you are now on the wild road, will bring great life and death risks during your future travel adventures. If he plans to drop out of school and is unwilling to work hard to get admitted to a good Pokemon university for a better future, he must pay for his choice. At the same time, he also hopes that Lin Wuji will give up when faced with difficulties. But her mother, Tan Hua, never got the answer she wanted. After Lin Wuji finished speaking, the crow's feet at the corners of her eyes seemed to get deeper. I understand and will not regret my choice. Contact the school to drop out. Lin Wuji is very plain, even if he has thousands of words, he is buried in his heart. In contrast to his father's toughness, cruelty, and prodigality, his mother has always given him warmth. His predecessor felt very guilty for her. He worked hard day and night, which resulted in many illnesses and hidden diseases. He could not bear to go to the Pokemon Center and saw all these things inside. In the future, if you have the strength and affluent conditions, all the original status quo will be changed. The ambitions in your heart now will only be regarded as big words. The dishes for dinner were placed in the kitchen. Lin Wuji silently picked up the remaining bags, returned to the room, took out the incubator, and placed it in a suitable place, waiting for the long days of incubation to be completed. 3 days later, at 10 o'clock in the morning, Lin Wuji woke up in the temporary room of the pig farm and hurriedly rode an electric donkey back home. At this time, the mother is already busy working on the pig farm, and the two Puchina, Wonkai and Shalwa, patrol the area according to their daily tasks to avoid the invasion of some rookie-level Pokemon that have not been cleaned up. My father was selling pork everywhere, and my brother was watching TV in the living room. The door was opened, and the cold winter wind blew in. Lin Dong found out that it was his brother, and immediately turned his head in fear. Lin Wuji didn't say anything, put aside washing and eating breakfast, and ran up the stairs to the second floor to open the locked room. Because he had to keep a vigil, he couldn't keep an eye on the Magnemite in the Pokemon egg all the time to see when it would hatch in the next few days. He could only lock the doors and windows of the room to prevent the little one from escaping after birth and failing. Squeak. Pushing open the door, Lin Wuji slowly walked into the room, and at first glance looked coldly at the location where the Pokemon eggs were stored. It was found that the inferior incubator had been opened at this time, and a pool of water was spilled on the surrounding floor, which was obviously the nutrient solution that had consumed all the nutrients. Pokemon eggs painted black with food paint, leaving only empty broken shells. It looks like it hatched. Where is Magnemite? One hand reached behind to close the door tightly to prevent accidents. Lin Wuji frowned and looked around solemnly. With the other hand, he took out an ordinary red and white Pokeball. He had prepared it when he stopped by the Pokemon store when buying food these days. The price is 200 ZG. At this time, a sound similar to the collision of a small thunder shock sounded. The whole body is a gray machine-like thing with only one eye, located in the center of the spherical body. There are horseshoe-shaped magnets on the left and right sides of the body, with opposite magnetic poles. There is one large screw on the top of the head and two small screws on the front of the body. A Pokemon whose screws and magnets can rotate freely. It was leaning on the socket beside the bed and kept sucking electricity. When it saw the sudden appearance of a strange human, it slowly drifted over with curiosity and caution. When Lin Wuji heard the news, he also noticed Magnemite's movements and saw the other party's innocent, curious, and even friendly expression. Lin Wuji, who loves Pokemon, sighed inwardly and suddenly threw a red and white ball with his backhand, hitting Magnemite and conquering it with a bang. Boom. Boom. Bang. As a newborn Pokemon that had just been hatched, I had no idea what it meant to be subdued. Moreover, it was the first time I saw a human being and I felt a sense of intimacy, so I quickly accepted it by default. I can only apologize. I hope you can find a good master in the future. Apologizing softly, Lin Wuji picked up the Pokeball, stroked it and locked it away. Although Magnemite is so pitiful, has 3.5 million votes, it also managed to have its own promotional poster. But in order to cultivate resources for the next Earl Dervish Pokemon, he must sell it and use his golden fingers to choose a better future. Open the door, take a deep breath, clean up the useless nutrient solution and broken shells, and put the incubator away. Go downstairs, put on the prepared mask and glasses, walk out of the house, and ride the electric donkey to the town. Arrive at the most eye-catching and largest Pokemon Center in town, park your car, display your rookie trainer ID, and enter through the smart security check at the gate. The Pokemon Center has a large space. The first floor is a hall for treating Pokemon and purchasing various related businesses. The second and third floors are rooms for rent, sale, and exchange of various Pokemon products. As soon as he came in, Lin Wuji's nose smelled an unpleasant smell of healing potion. There were many trainers waiting anxiously on the seats on one side of the hall. The most eye-catching front desk has huge smart panels hanging on the small front desks on both sides. There is the task bar, from which the trainer can intercept suitable tasks to earn resource rewards. There was an orderly queue at any front desk. When it was Lin Wuji's turn, the neatly dressed staff asked tiredly without raising their eyes, "What service do you need?" "Hello, I want to test my Pokemon's talents and information." "Sir, please show your trainer ID, fill in the following basic information, and then remit the corresponding fees." The staff was not surprised and took out a simple information sheet from the counter. Lin Wuji handed over the rookie trainer ID, and then filled in the information form, which was nothing more than name, ID card, number of Pokemon qualified for testing and corresponding names, etc. The only Pokemon he tested was Magnemite, which cost 500 yuan each. It was expensive and profitable, but well worth the money. Moreover, if he wants to easily acquire Magnemite, he must have a Pokemon test report officially recognized by Alliance on a regular Pokemon trading website. After filling out the payment and confirming that it was correct, and getting his documents back, Lin Wuji took the invoice certificate given to him by the staff and followed the instructions to the department dedicated to detection. Turn left in the hall and walk through a long corridor to the corresponding Pokemon detection department. Show the invoice to the guard in front of the door for inspection. After entering, there is a small waiting room for staff, and inside is a place where professionals control precision machines and test Pokemon information qualifications. There are about 10 people waiting in the waiting room. His number is 996. Now the queue has just reached around 985, so he still has to wait. Ding. 996. 996. Please bring your Pokemon to the window to confirm the number of your turn. For about half an hour, Lin Wuji was sitting on a public chair scrolling through his mobile phone, learning the basics of trainers' outdoor knowledge, when an announcement with a machine sound came to his ears. He immediately stood up and came to the window, handing the Pokeball containing Magnemite and the invoice certificate to the waiting professionals. "Sir, congratulations. This newly born Magnemite has excellent talents. It will have a good future. I hope you, as a trainer, will work harder." After waiting expectantly for a few minutes, an energetic old man with white hair in a white coat returned to the window, with a trace of greed in his eyes. With a calm tone, he handed the Pokeball and a data sheet stamped with Alliance's official anti-counterfeiting seal to Lin Wuji with a smile. "Really? Thank you for your help, otherwise I would have been kept in the dark. Thank you so much." The data table that comes into view is exactly the same as the data chart displayed by the golden finger. Check that there is no problem with Magnemite in the Pokeball. He pretended to be trembling with excitement, thanked him and cooperated. The old man said nothing, nodded and continued to call the next person waiting for testing, while Lin Wuji turned around and left with a calm expression under his hat. The kid just now was so lucky. That Magnemite has a yellow qualification, and the lowest estimate is hundreds of thousands. In the testing room, another young professional looked at the previous information sheet and stared at Lin Wuji and muttered with a bit of envy. "Xiao Li, has his Pokemon information been reported?" "Young man, don't worry, if you work hard for a year or two on this job, you can still get it or even better without counting the subsidies and benefits." At this time, the old man came over with a few new Pokeballs and invoices, and seemed to comfort and encourage him in a very calm tone. Quote. What you always said is true. Xiao Li scratched his head and quickly submitted the information for registration. Returning to the central lobby, Lin Wuji queued up again and came to the front desk, took out the trainer ID, Pokeball and the obtained information sheet and said, "Hello, I want to find a suitable trainer for Pokemon." "Sir, are you sure? At your age it would be a good start. I have no money." "Don't worry, Magnemite will find a trainer to take care of it." After taking the items and politely reminding them, the staff took a few glances at Magnemite's yellow qualifications. The machine checked that the official anti-counterfeiting seal was correct, so I said no more. "Sir, the official price given by Alliance is 184,000 yuan. If you are not satisfied, you can buy it yourself on the trading website." The staff worked for a while and handed Lin Wuji a bill for him to choose from. Magnemite with yellow qualifications has a minimum market price of 100,000 to 110,000 and a maximum of 220,000 to 230,000. Everything comes from its 3 stages of evolution. The overall strength of the final form Magnezone is excellent at the same level. Without this final stage, the highest possible price would only be less than 150,000. When it was revealed that Magneton had an evolutionary form, the price of the yellow qualified Magnemite skyrocketed to around 300,000 yuan. However, as the market stabilized, prices slowly dropped. The current official price is a bit on the high side. Lin Wuji speculates that this may be because this Magnemite is in its infancy and has high plasticity. The price is reasonable. Even if you find a suitable buyer on the official trading website, you may sell it for 210,000 or even 230,000. But on the contrary, it may always be the lowest tens of thousands, which requires luck or time to wait. If you are lucky, it will be posted on the official website for the next second. If you are not lucky, it will be a few weeks and a half month. Time is the most important thing to him now. The illusory waiting is not as good as the reality that is about to arrive. Lin Wuji decisively agreed to the safe arrangement. In other words, the original purpose has been achieved, why bother messing around anymore? Even if you can sell it at a good price on the official trading website, after you reach a deal with the buyer, you will still have to deduct 5% of the price as a tax, which is not worth the loss. If we directly deal with Alliance, there will be no losses in this sequence. No, I'm very satisfied, let's do the deal. Lin Wuji nodded after thinking. After the deal was reached, the staff gave him a contract form. He checked that there were no problems and signed it with a pen. After stamping and delivering the goods, Lin Wuji wrote down the bank account number that he had confirmed several times, and the amount received was 184,000 quickly displayed on his phone. Taking back his trainer ID, he opened the door and left. Now that you're ready, it's time to look for the Earl Dervish Pokemon. The requirements are not high. You don't need any quasi-gods to control the 3 families, you can be a house bug or a house bird, the only hard requirement is qualifications. Let's first check out the 2 breeder houses in the town, and then check out Qinglu. With a smile on his face, Lin Wuji calmed down and sat on the e-donkey, muttering to himself. Unlike Magnemite, which is regarded as a tool, it is very important to become a trainer's Earl Dervish Pokemon. The higher the qualifications and talents, the better. Therefore, he plans to visit all the breeder houses in Ribbon County, and even go to the city to take a look and make full use of the power of self-hanging. And if you do this, you can no longer continue to be a lucky person through formal channels. His ability is the foundation of life, and being discovered is a fatal disaster. Because of this, once the Earl Dervish Pokemon reaches a certain level of strength, Lin Wuji will probably embark on the path of a Pokemon hunter, hiding his identity and profiting from the black market. On the surface, Pokemon sold in the regular market are circulating and selling in huge quantities, but the entry and exit of the purchase and sale are basically in the hands of major forces, and there are too many rules and spies. Pokemon hunters, as trainers who truly survive by catching Pokemon, are decisive in their actions and cruel in their methods of catching Pokemon. Most Pokemon hunters on the market will join major forces to gain space for survival. It is too difficult for individuals to fight alone. However, what Lin Wuji needs is to keep his whereabouts secret, and walking in the gray-black market has become the main entry point. The birth of the black market, a place where the dark side of the human heart is released, is a fig leaf beneath the surface of Lucas. There are too many illegal transactions, PCs, flower selling, unlimited life and death battles, many industries with shady origins but huge profits. There is so-called light and there is so-called darkness. The black market will not be eliminated because the interests involved are huge. The person you think is just may be the mastermind. The existence of the black market is very suitable for Lin Wuji. The good and the bad are mixed together regardless of the origin of the Pokemon. There is no open market. It is clear that being careful can cover up one's own secrets. The role of the golden finger is infinitely magnified. Accordingly, the black market is not a place for normal people to go. Generally speaking, it is very dangerous, and individuals need a certain amount of force protection. The ordinary level is a good prerequisite. The rookie level used to be a pure death. The distance between Lin Wuji and Lin Wuji is far away but does not hinder the longing for it. Within the next few days, instead of rushing home as soon as possible, Lin Wuji rode a small electric donkey and braved the cold winter wind to look for his urban Pokemon. There are 2 breeder shops in Qingqiao town. This time he tested all the Pokemon eggs that ordinary customers could see in the store. He feasted his eyes on Pokemon eggs of all kinds and at different price points. Sure enough, under the indiscriminate look at the eggs, the previously rare yellow qualification Magnemite seemed mediocre in comparison. Lin Wuji even saw the highest qualification reaching the green Pokemon egg. At that time, he had just discovered that the price was as high as hundreds of thousands, and he had no choice but to look at it a few more times. Lin Wuji shook his head regretfully because his own abilities did not allow it. Currently, he found Pokemon eggs with prices within 10,000 or 1,000 yuan, and the highest quality was only dark yellow. It is too low and does not meet the requirements at all. The minimum requirement for Lin Wuji is green qualifications. As a commoner at the bottom, he adopts the method of cultivating Pokemon as a meritocracy. It is better to be mediocre than to abuse. The Pokemon's requirements are not extreme, but at least they are one of Norman's choices. The Earl Dervish Pokemon at the beginning is the most important. As the companion who accompanies trainer all the way, needless to say, the depth of emotion. In reality, most normal trainers tend to backfire, even if they can climb higher on the road with some adventures, excellent training methods and resources. However, due to the shortcomings of Earl Dervish Pokemon's qualifications, and considering the shortage of resources, this initial partner was basically relegated to the second tier or behind the scenes. Lin Wuji will have no regrets if he has the ability. It is cruel to choose Pokemon eggs as a product, but it is a reality. Otherwise, the poor qualifications of Earl Dervish Pokemon will hinder him later, and the decision will be more painful. Long-term pain is not as good as short-term pain. He used his mobile phone to contact his family and told them that he would not be home for a few days because of something else. Lin Wuji continued to look for the target he wanted. He visited every known breeder house in Qinglu town, even Ribbon County, and surrounding counties, bringing his ID. The harvest was not small. I saw a lot of green qualified Pokemon eggs, and even 1 or 2 of dark green ones. Most of them were persuaded to give up due to the price, and a few were remembered and planned to be looked at again. Among them, what shocked Lin Wuji the most was the discovery of a cyan-qualified Pokemon egg. Blue. 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 The elite-level strongman who corresponds to the entire world, the boss-level figure who can cover the sky with one hand. The value of this cyan-qualified Pokemon egg can be imagined. When Lin Wuji found it, he was disappointed and unwilling. After all, it was a precious opportunity to reach the sky in half a step. But unfortunately, the appraiser hired by the large breeder house was a little blind but not completely blind. The cyan qualification corresponds to a price of tens of millions. Although its true value has not been fully identified, the price listed in the store is also in the millions. The most he can do is to spend some money to ask the store to make an appointment to remind the Pokemon egg of the sale and purchase time, and try to avoid timely response and recovery as much as possible. After searching all over Ribbon County, Lin Wuji was unwilling to accept that the Earl Dervish Pokemon was limited to green qualifications and continued on the journey to Yangcheng City. As a real big city, it is a place with provincial official gyms. The world has changed. Most of the places where people can survive are occupied by Pokemon, and almost every city will be separated by wilderness. Therefore, the price of train tickets has also become high due to the increased risk factor of hiring a trainer. Lin Wuji has to spend close to 1,000 yuan to buy the cheapest ticket. The roar from the forest or grassland during the train ride is always a reminder of the fact that life is the most precious. The crowds and the curiosity outside the window made Lin Wuji calm down. He could afford to buy better tickets, but he had to spend them wisely. As time passed, he arrived at this prosperous city on the morning of the third day. There are prosperous streets everywhere in the city, with all kinds of beautiful beauties and beautiful figures, a large number of luxury brand stores, luxury cars that have become common, or rare Pokemon such as Usangia. All of this has nothing to do with Lin Wuji, who is wearing simple country clothes at this time. The morning is cold and foggy, and you can see a large number of busy breakfast shops and barbecue stalls on the roadside, filled with aroma and heat. Soaring in the sky a steady drizzle fell, making this prosperous city look even more mysterious. Holding an umbrella, he bought a breakfast worth more than 10 yuan at Solician. After finishing the meal, Lin Wuji continued to his next destination, wandering around the breeder houses in the huge city, still looking for the Earl Dervish Pokemon. Until night approaches on the fifth day, the city streets are illuminated with lively entertainment, many bar DJs are playing wildly, and there are endless duels between trainers. It is another crazy night for men and women. Lin Wuji's current consumption is relatively frugal and she can spend more than 2,000 yuan. It was all worth it for him. In the vast southern area of Yangcheng, under the high-rise buildings in the Orberg forest, there was a well-known breeder house located near the square. He listened to the popular songs being played outside, and there was an endless stream of customers coming in and out. In the store, Lin Wuji stared at the Pokemon egg with brown lines in front of him, and a flash of blue light flashed. He was in a happy mood, and sincerely lamented that he couldn't find it anywhere after wearing iron shoes. After wandering around for a while, I finally met the right Earl Dervish Pokemon. It was not a waste of a few days of running around. Pokemon. Gligar. Qualification. Cyan. Gender. Male. Level. Level 1 not hatched. Attribute. Ground, flying. Ability. Immunity. What to bring. Genetic skills. Sand Tomb, Baton Pass, Cross Poison. Basic skills. Poison Barb, Sand Attack, Harden. Teach skills. Note. There is a terrifying giant needle on the tip of its tail. It will pounce on the prey's face, obscure its sight, and then inject poison into its tail needle to kill it. Judging from the data chart displayed, it is the rare Pokemon Gligar in Daxia. According to the historical background of this world, it is a common Pokemon in the Mousie Kingdom. Gligar, ground, and flying double attribute combination Pokemon make it have almost no shortcomings in attribute restraint except for 4 times the fatal shortcomings of the ice type. Even because of its ground type, it is immune to electric attacks of the same level. Appears in the Pokemon anime in the old Muji Chengdu chapter. The Cyan qualification is comparable to the Pokemon egg with the highest Cyan qualification that Lin Wuji encountered before. As a mid-level person in the Cyan qualification stage, there is no doubt that there are tickets that can advance to the elite level, and the market price is still as high as tens of millions. But this precious, Gligar, Pokemon egg is just a lower-end Pokemon egg priced at 15,000 yuan from the Nan Sha Nan Breeder House Ground Series house. Because of the ignorance of some appraisers, the price difference is from 10,000 yuan to 10 million yuan. For Lin Wuji, it is definitely a big bargain for Mega. After going through a lot of hardships, he now watches hundreds of breeder houses. I have actually seen 1 or 2 of the lower quality light cyan ones, but at the time I could only look at them from a distance. They seemed to be one of the breeder house's treasures, or the price was so high that I never found a suitable choice. In terms of qualifications and price, there are already better choices for Pokemon eggs in front of you. So he directly called the staff in the store and quickly prepared to buy it to avoid accidents. Don't miss it. The talent of this Gligar Pokemon egg is the main thing, and secondly, the hidden ability and immunity are still excellent. As a longtime fan, Lin Wuji often plays Gligar's future evolution Gliscor in related games, which is a flailing poisonous Pokemon in battle. The evolved poison treatment ability, Combined with the continuous poisoning contest condition achieved by the toxic orb, substitute, protection, and toxic's disgusting wandering tactics are really deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. Based on this, he had a special feeling as a person who was passionate about his quality stream. It is also a kind of fate to meet him now. In addition to the basic skills, the inherited skills of Sand Tomb, Baton Pass, and Cross Poison are all rare and precious skills, which are in line with Lin Wuji's plan for Gligar. As for the Razor Fang, the prop needed to evolve into Gliscor, it is indeed a question that needs to be considered in the future, but I believe it will not be difficult if you have it. After the staff opened the tempered glass and carefully took out the Pokemon eggs, they led Lin Wuji to the front desk to handle after-sales procedures. There were no surprises, and buying Pokemon eggs was a common occurrence. Especially since the eggs are almost imperceptible, most customers will carefully observe and think carefully before making a decision. Using high prices to snatch Pokemon eggs that others are optimistic about is not allowed in a regular store like this, unless it is placed behind the scenes. Having never offended anyone, Lin Wuji regrets that he did not enjoy this kind of treatment. The front desk staff who handle after sales are very enthusiastic. After all, each order represents their harvest. Lin Wuji also cooperates seriously because of the preciousness of Pokemon. In order to ensure its safety during incubation, he even spent an extra 1,000 on a high-end incubator and rich nutrient solution. As the list was stamped, his trainer ID was swiped, and the deal was concluded. The Pokemon eggs that were placed in the incubator and nourished by the nutrient solution were carefully packed into a second-hand low-level space backpack that was bought at a bargain price of 4,000 along the way. Carrying a backpack with an expressionless face, and feeling the excitement in his heart like huge waves, Lin Wuji planned to find a place to stay for one night and embark on the journey home. While the night is still dark, I plan to start preparing the items Gligar will need after it hatches. The first is the Pokeball to capture Pokemon. Lin Wuji asked the locals to aimlessly search for some Pokemon stores that were not officially certified by Alliance. This is done to prevent others from noticing Gligar's cultivation speed after hatching. That's right, officially produced Pokeballs generally have monitoring systems, which are supposed to confirm the safety of trainers themselves. I don't know the actual situation. Lin Wuji remained vigilant and did not reveal any flaws. Previously, he used Goldfinger to sell Magnemite and obtained enough funds. He became a rare, lucky man. Now, in order to find the suitable Earl Dervish Pokemon, he is frantically visiting hundreds of breeder houses. If Lin Wuji's whereabouts are traced, it will be easily discovered. Weird behavior will inevitably cause deep thought. Similarly, Gligar in the Pokemon egg is extremely talented, and it goes without saying that the growth rate of his strength progresses. Using the official Pokeball to conquer, the data displayed by the monitoring cannot be as comprehensive as the test machine, but the increase in strength cannot be avoided. If you are not careful with these details, you will have endless consequences. Lin Wuji needed to dismantle the Pokeball from the surveillance system, and it was naturally impossible for official Pokemon stores to sell it, so he had to find stores with a bit of a gray trade. Turning left and right, we came to a street with not very good business, and stopped at a somewhat shabby department store according to the description of the locals. When you walk into the store, you can see some young local acquaintances buying things, and an old man is sitting leisurely on a chair and warming the fire. Lin Wuji came to the stove and stretched out his hands to relieve the coldness. Please ask. Old man, you should be the owner of this shop, right? Young man, apart from me, the other owners of this store are my wife and children. Do you want to buy anything? When I saw Lin Wuji, a new-looking man wearing a cotton coat and hat, he responded leisurely with a smile on his face. I heard someone said that you can buy some special Pokeballs here, if you need them urgently. Lin Wuji looked around and whispered, as if he was a thief with a guilty conscience. Oh. It's easy to talk about. You have found the right place, young man, but the price of the Pokeball is a bit expensive. Let me show it to you in detail. The uncle had already expected it, and the majority of the store's business depended on this. He reminded the customers to be mentally prepared, and stood up and turned around to rummage around the counter. Soon, he took out a few red and white balls and held them in his hand, then spread them out in front of Lin Wuji. The monitoring system inside has been dismantled, and the price is 1015. I want to. Just don't fool people, old man. Taking out his mobile phone to scan the QR code, Lin Wuji secretly confirmed that it was correct, with a calm expression on his face. It seems that the function of the golden finger needs to be developed. Since the problem of the Pokeball monitoring system can be found, there is indeed no monitoring, and it is acceptable to be more expensive. The old man is a little too dark. The red and white balls cost 200 when the monitor is removed and the price becomes 1500. But the technology is priceless, otherwise he wouldn't be the one looking for the other party. Integrity is important in doing business. It's a bit expensive for the old man to sell, but you must be worthy of the price, so you can rest assured. The old man smiled and handed over the 2 red and white balls and the payment code, put away the other Pokeballs and continued to sit on the chair to warm the fire. The payment prompt sounded, and he walked out of the store without stopping. The uncle gave him a warm farewell and said he would welcome his next visit. The things that should be prepared are Pokemon food suitable for baby Pokemon, Moo milk, some tree fruits. Under the lights at night, the streets were filled with lively stalls selling food, and the air was filled with all kinds of mouth-watering fragrances. After a busy day, Lin Wuji found a random shop and had a bowl of snail noodles. After drinking the only hot soup left in the bowl, he walked out of the store with a warm body and continued to look for the resources Gligar would need after hatching. Pokemon food is a kind of food specially made for Pokemon to eat. It contains rich energy and is more conducive to trainers' daily training of Pokemon. Different from the food that everyday people just fill their stomachs with, the energy contained in Pokemon food is a consumable that supports magical creatures like Pokemon. Pokemon contain so much power that ordinary food cannot satisfy their needs. Ordinary food is cheap. Although it is possible for Pokemon to eat to fill their stomachs, the energy gap will slowly be consumed from its own potential, which will be a fatal problem. There are also great distinctions in the types of Pokemon food on the market, from low to high quality, ordinary, high-end, and top quality. Poor Pokemon food is food that only fills up the Pokemon and ensures a certain amount of energy replenishment without taking into account its own potential. Ordinary Pokemon food replenishes the energy required by Pokemon and slightly increases the speed of strength improvement. Advanced Pokemon food can quickly replenish the energy required by Pokemon, allowing Pokemon more time to train, maximizing the speed of strength improvement. Top quality Pokemon food can quickly replenish the energy required by Pokemon. Long-term use can improve certain talents and qualifications. There are regular Pokemon stores in the normal market, and the basic Pokemon food sold is only high-end Pokemon food. The top-level Pokemon food needs to be prepared separately by the breeder master, which is expensive and hard to find. Moo milk, expensive fresh milk from Pokemon Miltank, is rich in energy and is the best choice for Pokemon to survive its infancy. Tree fruits, each different kind of tree fruits have corresponding effects. According to the quality, they are also divided into 4 levels from high to low: inferior, ordinary, excellent, and top quality. The value of tree fruits alone is generally only tens of yuan per piece, and the price of rare, precious and valuable tree fruits has basically skyrocketed to more than 10,000 yuan. After careful classification of grades, the overall prices of different types of tree fruits are found. The lowest and inferior common tree fruits cost more than 10 yuan each, and it is not uncommon for top-quality rare tree fruits to cost millions. Normal high-end Pokemon food in January costs 26,800 yuan from a regular Pokemon store. A large box of 36 bottles of Moo milk costs a prescribed 5,000 yuan. 10 ordinary Oran berry, 10 ordinary apple wild fruit, and 5 ordinary citrus berry are purchased from regular fruit stores for 1,500 yuan. The following are the results of Lin Wuji's ideas and actions. Currently, his Earl Dervish funds have been reduced from the initial 184,000 yuan to about 125,500 yuan after various consumptions. Sure enough, after only a few days, the funds in my hands were being consumed like running water, and it was really worthless. You know, in Lin Wuji's predecessor, spending thousands of yuan would have been rare. Now he has tens of thousands in one fell swoop, which is basically equivalent to the daily consumption of a normal family for several months. It is enough to show how expensive it is to become a trainer. Of course, Lin Wuji's consumption is very luxurious, except for the previous Pokemon eggs, the required second-hand low-level space backpack, and 2 unmonitored red and white balls. In fact, there is no need to buy high-end Pokemon food and 3 kinds of tree fruits. Even if they are not available or the level is lowered, it will not be a big deal. It will just slow down the speed of Gligar's strength improvement through the infancy period. But Lin Wuji hopes to seize every bit that can make him stronger. Things are expensive but worth the price, and the same goes for the Cyan-qualified Gligar. Only when the hatched Gligar's strength accelerates and becomes stronger with the help of these resources can the goal be realized step by step. As the saying goes, one step is fast and one step is fast. Lin Wuji naturally hopes to gain the master's strength as soon as possible. Only by being strong can we pursue higher and farther scenery and excitement. After being fully prepared and putting all the items properly into the second-hand low-level space backpack, the night slowly came to 10 or 11 o'clock, and Lin Wuji found a place to sleep. In addition to these resources, Gligar can also choose a precious and extremely useful edible item, energy cubes. Energy cubes are an alternative Pokemon food that is rich in energy and is made by mixing various tree fruit juices according to a certain proportion and finally solidifying and concentrating them. Needless to say, the effect of this kind of thing is to greatly increase the energy required by Pokemon and subtly improve the strength of Pokemon. In fact, it is far more effective than Pokemon food in helping to improve Pokemon's strength. An energy cube the size of your thumb can basically replenish the daily needs of a normal-sized Pokemon. Moreover, the speed of replenishing energy is far faster than that of Pokemon food, miraculously eliminating fatigue on Pokemon while reducing the hidden damage caused by the accumulation of sequelae. Energy cubes have a variety of attributes, and by taking the corresponding attribute energy cubes, Pokemon's understanding of this system can be subtly improved. At the same time, energy cubes also have the effect of improving Pokemon's talent qualifications and contest level. Its strategic significance allows trainers in dangerous wilderness to quickly replenish their own Pokemon. It avoids the danger of death due to dehydration of strength and inability to deal with wild Pokemon, and improves the safety of trainer in disguise. The energy cube, which can be called a panacea, is divided into 4 quality levels in the market: inferior, elementary, intermediate and advanced. The importance of energy cubes, except for the relatively cheap low-quality energy cubes that can be eliminated, logically speaking, Lin Wuji should give up buying high-end Pokemon food and choose this aspect to start with. Unfortunately, the existing funds cannot support the purchase of even elementary energy cubes for a long time. The success rate of making energy cubes is very low. In addition, the raw materials are precious fruits of various trees. The market is in short supply and the price is ridiculously high. Even the cheapest basic energy cube can only last for less than 2 or 3 months according to Lin Wuji's purchasing power, including other items. It is not as cost-effective as high-end Pokemon food. Another main reason was that he was shocked to find that Guan was far more powerful than this. Can detect energy cubes and various recipes for Pokemon food. Thanks for watching.